Joining us now is founder and managing partner of media advisory firm Methuselah Capital Advisors, John Chachas. Chachas is a former co-head of Lazard's global media practice. John, nice for you to stop by again.
Thanks for having me.
So why are they not doing these big deals?
Well, first you have a backdrop of a really weak economy. It's taken a long time to see some of these headwinds go away. There's a lot of talk about how 2011 is going to be better, but we've had a long run of really bad numbers. So it's easy for managements to sit on cash. The number that I look at is closer to 100 billion. You add the
100 billion.
You add the 5 digital companies, Google, Apple,
okay.
eBay, Amazon, which are really an expansion of the digital market. You add that to the top 6 or 7 in the traditional legacy media companies, got an awful lot of capital to spend.
That accelerates then. Is there also a problem, though, that there's not very many good assets to buy these days?
Well, no, it's not the question of good assets to buy. I think companies are constantly looking for growth. There's this huge pressure to, on the one hand, defend what you have. If you're a television company or a cable network like yours or a magazine company, you've got to do what's right to hang on to your viewers and your audience. And at the same time, you see these digital companies emerging that are growing at breakneck speed. So it's the question of where to go deploy the capital.
Right.
I think we will see an uptick in M&A. We absolutely will. But
in what area?
Well, I'm sure across the board, everybody's going to look for something to do to buy growth. But it may well be that they have to really go spend the money and invest it as opposed to buy something. There may not be as many things to buy.
Do you think some CEOs are looking at the experience of, like, let's say, Barry Diller with Ask.com or Rupert Murdoch with MySpace and saying, I don't want to be that person?
No, I don't think that's right. I think actually those are overplayed a little bit. I'm sure Mr. Murdoch got something out of MySpace that we don't all see, and I'm sure that people look back at the AOL Time Warner merger, which is now 10 years ago.
Right.
That transaction clearly got a rap that people felt it was sort of a major.
It was pivotal.
It was pivotal.
Yes.
And I think there's probably some bit of a hangover of, do we want to go bet the farm on a $10 billion transaction to recreate the company?
Right.
The truth is most of the huge growth companies that have happened in this digital expansion have been built. And they came from very young people.
Right.
If you look at the ones that you talk about on the air a lot these days, these are from folks who are south of 30 who built these companies.
Right, and I'm glad you bring that up because there is almost like this age gap now, right, between new media and old media companies. You've got people like Rupert Murdoch who are well into their 80s, and then you have people like Mark Zuckerberg who is, in his 20s, or Andrew Mason who just turned 30. How much of that age gap is a part of this problem?
Well, they're terrific executives who run the big legacy media companies, and they're terrific executives who are building these young ones. Steve Jobs, when he was making a speech recently, he exhorted the Stanford graduates, stay foolish and stay hungry. And in a sense, I think that these young folks that are looking through a different set of eyes about how young consumers access media information, they have something. And I think that in time...
But do they not want to work with the old media companies? Is that part of it?
No, I think they covet their brands. In a sense, if you really looked at Google and the content that's flowing across it, all of this stuff comes from large legacy media companies. So I think there is a bit of an age question, and these larger ones that are infusing young blood is probably a good thing.
Well, one of the members of the old guard, I guess he wouldn't appreciate me saying that, is Jeff Bewkes of Time Warner, did an interview with the New York Times, which I thought was very interesting. He was talking about the power of Netflix, or the non-power of Netflix. And he says this, all this talk about Netflix ruling Hollywood, he's saying, look, quote, it's a little bit like, is the Albanian army going to take over the world?
Well,
is he dead wrong or not?
That's an interesting comment. That said, last week, Netflix did a transaction with the Walt Disney Company, which makes accessible some of Disney's content that before this hasn't been accessible on the Netflix distribution model. So will Netflix take over the film business? Don't know. We do know that the film business is being remade. Years ago, the DVD part of the film business was an enormously important component and was where the growth was. Not today.
No.
So as these distribution channels change, the legacy media companies are really having to change.
It's one of those quotes that one day you'll look either really smart or it'll come back to haunt you. Anyway, John, thank you so much. Appreciate it.